Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to review Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 11, Deceiver. A lot of deceptions going on in this show.
Too many.
Yeah. And the description of Deceiver can be applied to several characters in this show, but probably Zeke is the ultimate deceiver throughout Season 4. And just skipping to the end of the episode, it's when the Marley military brass, led by General McGath, and the warrior candidates put it together that Zeke has been working with Paradise Island, that Zeke has betrayed them because, what did they say? They only found his legs and his arms?
Yeah.
So it's a classic Titan.
That old hockey trick.
Yeah, right, exactly.
With the arms and legs.
And, you know, the way that they've been playing with time is they've really focused on how, 4 years would seem like a long time to us, but in war, it goes very quickly. The jumping around has really hammered that home. McGath says that we have 6 months to rally the world and launch a joint attack against Paradise. And Reiner says, no, that's too much time. You give Zeke 6 months.
You don't give Batman prep time, you don't give Zeke prep time.
No, I wouldn't give Zeke prep time at all. It's funny because in this moment I was almost rooting for Marley. I got hyped when Reiner said that. No, we need to attack now. I'm like, hell yeah.
I mean, I've always liked Reiner, like, before the reveal that he was the Armored Titan. Then I'm like, he's kind of a dick. But then when you get the different perspective earlier in the season, you're like, it kind of muddles the line there. And yeah, obviously that's the big deception, but a lot of mini deceptions with some of the scout regiments leaking that information in Aaron this episode, and Gabby and Falco, or Ben and Maya decepting the Brass stables, or trying to, even though she found out pretty quick. But
right.
Yeah, a lot of deceptions going on in this episode. So I would say, and the title is accurate.
Yes, and going to Ben and Maya, Gabby and Falco, that deception there, it's all about just getting the different perspectives. And I've talked about this on other reviews. You mentioned on the podcast that Gabby is basically brainwashed. Right,
yeah. Falco is more, he's open to the other ideas. He's not as extreme as Gabby is. And she's always been an intense character. I think I said before that, she reminds me of Aaron a lot. I hate Aaron.
Right.
But
so they've done a good job, really.
Yeah, and I think that...
Or a terrible job.
So, I hated Aaron back in those episodes, like earlier on, and so many similarities. She's so driven, she's so passionate, and it blinds her in a lot of ways, to the point where she can't even recognize that these people it takes her a while to recognize that these people that are taking her in can actually be nice people. They don't have to be devils.
Right. What are the chances that she stumbles upon Sasha's family? They're taking in orphans, they're feeding them, they're doing pottery every Tuesday, and then we read from the Holy Bible. It's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be devils, actually, guys. Yeah. Can you start acting like devils? Because that's what I've been told my whole life. You're devils. And no, they're just the perfect little unit. A group that's just trying to pull through this chaos, this war. It's Kaya is the character who Sasha saved, and I love getting that flashback because that is one of the most heroic moments of the entire show, because it goes on forever. Mm-hmm. When Sasha does grab the axe and she's shooting the arrows, and you're not sure if she's going to get out of it, but she is saving this girl, and now this girl lives her life trying to aspire to be like Sasha. And yeah, it was really important for these characters, especially Gabby, to get that perspective. And a lot of comedy came out of, her staying with this family, her being eaten by the horse.
Yeah.
It's like the ghosts of Sasha's house are just punishing her for killing Sasha.
Right. If Sasha dying wasn't bad enough, they're milking it out, man. Every episode since then, you get reminded of Sasha.
Yeah, you either get a flashback or a look at her family.
People reacting, or have their family now with Gabby there. It's like, let us move on.
Right, yeah, no. And it's just so important because Kaya even tells Gabby, my mom didn't do anything. My home was trampled over 4 years ago. What sins does she have to atone for?
Right.
And for Gabby, it is like she's being deconditioned, almost like Bucky in The Winter Soldier. It's like, the best remedy for that is closure. And that's what Kaya gets from Falco when she learns that her mom died because this was part of a larger attack. It wasn't just senseless violence. At least now she doesn't have that confusion and uncertainty in her head. And that's what Gabby's struggling with. She's struggling with this very personal deception from Zeke. This is the individual who's been perpetrating all these lies for her entire life, leading her to believe that she was fighting for the right thing, that she was being a good person. So we'll see if Gabby can get that closure in the next few episodes. And of course, there are some similarities between Mikasa and Falco, both trying to help their friend, never giving up on the person they love the most.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between not even these characters, but just everybody in both situations, like both armies. And, Gabby, even earlier in the episode, she just wants to find Zeke to find answers, and she doesn't care if it means her life. So it's interesting to see where they go from here. I mean, they might go with the Bros family to the Milarian dinner because they got invited.
They're going to Nicolo's restaurant,
yes,
right?
So.
And with Reiner's character, throughout the season, he's been struggling with his will to live because of the weight of his past sins and the conflict within him. But now he has something to live for, and it's similar to Aaron, where he feels like he has to rush this attack in order to save Gabby and Falco. So they continue to draw parallels between characters on either side of this war. And Nicolo, last episode, he was serving wine to those military guys who were complaining about Historia's pregnancy. So I wonder if he's got some information that he needs to share. I don't know if he necessarily would share it with this group of people. But yeah, no, Kaya says that this is an opportunity for you guys to escape back home.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, like I mentioned, how much this young girl looks up to Sasha. And it's similar with Mikasa and Luis. Luis was the character that Mikasa saves back in Season 1. And that's another great hero moment. It goes to show how the Scouts are capable of fighting and taking down these Titans. So that was such an inspirational moment for this young girl. 4 years later, or 3 years later, whatever the timeline is, it inspires her to leak military secrets.
Yes.
So that the world can know Aaron is being kept captive, not really against his will. He can get out any time. But she believes that this will help the overall effort, that even if she has to commit a crime here, it's for the greater good.
Yes.
And Mikasa, I still feel like she knows something that the rest of these characters don't, because she just tells her, shut your mouth.
Yeah, when she brings up, like, you're only doing this for Aaron still or something like that. And
it felt more like Aaron doesn't need this.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Don't get yourself into any more trouble because I know what Aaron's cooking up. I know that there's a plan here. That's what I took away from it.
Or it could just be her kind of, she joined, like, everything she's done up until this point was either to protect Aaron or kind of be with Aaron. And maybe at this point she's kind of misguided and maybe a little disillusioned of why she's even here in the first place. And in terms of leaking the information, it's on the outside looking in, you kind of, when you didn't see what happened and the destruction they caused, it's kind of something where you just view it as a victory. It's like, why is Aaron in jail? We got a victory against the enemy, and this was a victory for humanity. Why is he in a cell? So
right.
It's something where
lying to the public just like they were lied to all these
exactly.
years. Yeah.
It's like I think Hanji realizes that, where I think she does see both sides here, but she's not completely sure about, there is hesitation for the rumbling. And I think that, I don't know, it's tough. I think we are going to get that pretty soon. I think it's coming. So I think as like more dissension grows with the public and kind of the military government in place and everything going on with Historia too, that I think tensions inside Paradise Island maybe will start to rise even before the incoming attack. So
no, that is a good point. You could just see the weight of command on her shoulders, even in last episode when she thinks back to Erwin. You would think that Erwin in this situation wouldn't really have a problem lying to the public. Erwin doesn't mind stretching the truth or stretching his morals in order for the greater good, but a character like Hanji, who is very sweet and wholesome and has this strong moral center, being put in command, you see her reaction after she just like lets out a laugh, cry, yelp sort of thing. So it's really weighing on her. The complexities of this whole situation are not for the weak-minded. And I'm not saying that's what she is, but her mental strengths are more scientific and strategies. Mm-hmm. This is pure politics now, and it just makes it more interesting for us and harder for the characters.
Definitely. Yeah, this was obviously, like you said, she doubted whether she deserves this position and why Erwin even gave it to her in the first place. So I think for her, she is someone that, like you said, relies on her science. And a lot of like that is being objective and not kind of, it's hard for her to not see both sides and kind of play it out in her mind. And, obviously she's going to give them a trial, but not let them go for the disobedience. But, part of her is probably like, yeah, maybe we're not doing the right thing.
That's a good point. It's not about being objective at this point. It's not like science where you're just finding a truth. You kind of had to just make your own truths and whatever is the best truth for victory. Speaking of victory, it looks like the Hizuru have returned, led by Ambassador Azuma Bito, and they brought back with them what she describes as the first flying boat, So an airship that's running on iceburst stone. And that's interesting because last episode they walk away with no deal. They wanted the opportunity to monopolize Paradise Island's iceburst stone. Paradise Island said no. And now they return. 2 years later, they have returned. So once again, this goes to whatever Zeke and Aaron have been discussing and planning. It was Zeke who brought these two nations together. So maybe there was something even further under the table that points to cooperation. They've returned with an airship. So, and this is what Reiner was talking about. If you give Zeke 6 months, he's going to have an air force. And we also see in this episode General Pixie's confronting Yelena about her communication with Aaron. And this is also something I suggested on the last episode. These two characters had to have been working together. And Pixie's is kind of putting together the pieces here. I don't even think Yelena responds in this episode. It's more Pixie's just telling her stuff that she already knows. It's coming to a point where it feels like the calm before a storm. Because you have the volunteers, they're being detained by Pixies. You have Aaron, who's being detained by Paradise Island's government. You have Zeke, who is out camping with Levi in the middle of nowhere. You have so many people
just having like a great time, roasted marshmallows, singing campfire songs.
Yeah. There's something about anime food that's just so delicious looking. That wine, the way it poured out of that cup, ooh. I would have just imagine Levi and Zeke became boys.
That's what I'm saying. It cuts back and they're just fucking hanging out at the campfire singing songs.
A montage of them doing stuff in the forest. So you have so many people here.
Do the thing. Turns into the Beast Titan.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Come on.
You're crazy, Zeke. You have so many people right now that have plans that haven't yet been revealed, that have plans that have been revealed that seem, kind of ridiculous, like Reiner's idea for a surprise attack. You can't imagine that that's going to go well. That whenever these two sides, or these three sides now, or how many sides with the rest of the world come together, there's going to be massive destruction. Going back to the idea of who they're going to feed Aaron to, because that's what the scouts talk about last episode. Armin has that idea. I was thinking today that I wonder if it will be Falco or Gabby. That's a way for Gabby kind of to, get her revenge against Aaron, but she's helping Paradise Island. I wonder if her perspective will change, but she still has that feeling of vengeance towards Aaron. So it's kind of just a win-win. Like, I'm fighting for the Eldians, but I also get to kill Aaron. Or if it will be Falco, because like you said, he's more clear-minded, kind of has an idea of what the bigger picture is, and that seems like somebody that you could trust, and then they would fulfill their dreams as warrior candidates, right? Falco, since episode 2 or 3, when Reiner says you need to save Gabby from this fate, maybe it will be Falco becoming a Titan for the other side. That's just a theory of mine that I've had. Yeah. But I'm wondering who that person is going to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Levi eating Zeke would be, I don't know, just someone that the biggest rivalry of all time, and he has to eat him, and he becomes what he hates.
I'm very curious to see what Levi would look like as that Titan too.
Well, he's just normal size. It's not even big.
Imagine that, yeah. He just grows him to 8 foot instead of 200. It's like, you motherfuckers.
Can't catch a break.
Can't catch a break, even in Titan form. But he's still the most dangerous Titan.
Yeah, no.
Give him some bigger ODM gear. Just circling back real quick because we got away from it. The character of Yelena, Pixie says that their rooms were close together, that there were obviously some communications there. What do you think? I just get a bad vibe from this character. Especially now that she's talking less and looking even more evil with each shot.
I honestly don't know. It's something where I think there's so much going on behind the scenes that we don't know about yet. So it really could be anything. And, it wouldn't surprise me if she's kind of like a double agent or something like that. Or even Zeke at this point. I still don't really know what he's up to. And I don't know, there's just a lot to be, I think there's going to come out in these next few episodes that are going to make the picture a little bit clearer. I hope so.
It's very similar to WandaVision, where up until this point, they're setting up so many things where I'm so excited to see how they play out. It's a lot. Yeah. But I hope that they can tie it together, just like WandaVision. It's a lot of interesting threads that they've introduced here and that they're weaving. Let's see if they can bring it home. But like you said, it's just so hard to speculate because things happen in one episode, like Hizuru saying no, and then the next episode they're back with guns and airships and shit like that. So, yeah, there's still some time that needs to be filled. And like you said, hopefully these next couple of episodes do a good job of that. And we will be back next week to review episode 12. I'm not sure of the title. Let's see if I have it right here. Guides. Interesting.
Guides?
Yeah. Nice little Falco and Gabby just go on a tour of Paradise Island. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Beau Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers. My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa, and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Beau Oliver, and I support this message.